Yes, people, hope everyone's good. In today's video, I'm going to have a bit of a change of pace. I'm going to talk about something that I've been thinking a lot about recently, and I don't know if it's a good thing, I don't know if it's a bad thing, but it's something that's certainly in the last few years an issue that's sort of the forefront of my life, and it's the fact that I prefer spending time on my own than being with other people. And it's something that when I think back on it, it's always been there, just not in kind of the same way that it is now. So if I go back to when I was in my teens, when I was about 17, 18, I got my first car, and I was out every single night. Every night. There wouldn't be a night where I can't remember, I don't think there was any night where I stayed in. I'd be out with my friends. I had loads of different groups of friends. I was super social. So if I wasn't out with one group of friends, if they weren't out one night, I'd be out with another different group of friends. I'd go driving all over the country. We'd go to Scarborough, we'd go to down south, all over different places, just for something to do and different places to visit. We'd be at the pub, clubs. I was doing something every single night socially. And then when a couple of years after that, when I went to university, the same thing really. I was super, super social. I was out every single night. Massive group of friends. I knew everyone knew me, and I would be out every single night. However, when I look back on it now, yeah, I'd be spending all this social time, but I'd have tons and tons of time then during the day where I'd just be on my own, and I just want to be on my own. So, for example, the way that I made money when I was at university was I was selling a bit of bud here and there. So I've spoke about this previously. It's not something I'm particularly proud of, but it's what I used to do. So back in those days, it was very, very different. Things worked very differently to how they do now. And when I first started out, I was buying one Z at a time from someone, and I'd have to go get the Z, come home, cut it into 8, because there was no actual weed at the time. It was all hash. It was always hash. You would very occasionally get skunk, but it was rare. It was almost always hash soap bar. So you just buy the Z, go home, cut it into 8, and then I'd go out and do my rounds on a night. So that's, I'd be out working really, but it was socialising at the same time, because I'd be around all the student bars, all the student accommodation. I knew everyone, and I'd be just going, seeing everyone, and that's just how it worked. Now, during the day, the guy that I used to have to get the soap bar from lived like miles away, right over the other side. I went to university in Derby. I lived right over the other side of Derby. When I first started, I had a motorbike, and I used that to go see him. But I'd go for big, long, massive drives afterwards for hours, because it was right in the middle of the countryside where he lived. It was going out towards where's a place called Matlock, which is a beautiful spa town, and there's loads of beautiful countryside around there. And I just used to go riding the bike for hours. But then my bike got stolen actually, and it got wrecked. I got it back, but it just got absolutely smashed to bits by a load of kids. So it was no good after that. But I used to walk when I didn't have the bike. I did this for months really, and I would walk from where I lived probably 2 hours to this guy's place, hang out there for an hour, and then I'd walk back another 2 hours just on my own. And remember, back then there was no mobiles, there was no iPods or anything like that. The best sort of technology you had was like a Walkman. And I don't think I even had one of those. So I would literally just be on my own with my own thoughts for a good few hours during the day. And then even when I started growing myself, so I didn't have to make those journeys anymore, those long journeys, I'd still, a lot of the days I'd go out for long walks on my own, for ages and ages. I'd just go out for 2, 3, 4 hours walking. And that's something that I still do to this day. But I still saw myself as a super sociable person, always socialising, always part of the crowd, but I had these long periods of time, sort of reflection time in between with my own thoughts. Now, over the years, I've noticed that I actively prefer the times when I'm on my own. And if I do have to spend a lot of time with other people, I need to, I'm looking forward to getting back so that I can just be on my own and recharge. And I think there's positives to that, but there's negatives as well. Obviously, we are, as humans, we're supposed to be social creatures, so it's quite important to have those relationships. And I do have good relationships with my family and everything else. But I have noticed, especially recently, that even those family relationships, if I'm spending a lot of time with someone, I get irritated. I don't like small talk. I really can't. It annoys me just to talk about the weather or just nothing. I'll give you an example. My granddad's 95, bless him. And I spend a lot of time with him. I'm his primary carer. I cook all his meals for him. So I spend a lot of time with him every day. And he loves to chatter. He's a chatterbox. He loves to chatter away. And he's really excited when I come round because he's got somebody to talk to. But not just me, anyone, anyone comes to visit. He has a chiropodist that comes and he gets so excited when the chiropodist coming because it's somebody different that he can chat to. He goes out 2 days a week and he spends, he goes to a woodworking group. And his mates he's got loads of mates there, and he comes back buzzing. He's absolutely buzzing, because he just had that social time, that conversation. And I feel like I'm weird because I really don't. It makes no sense to me that it makes no sense. I dislike, if I'm in a situation where I have to make small talk or someone's making small talk. I feel like if a conversation's not something that I'm really interested in or that I'm learning something from, it just feels like an absolute waste of time. And is that me being weird? I don't know. I really don't know, but it's just how I am, and it's something that I've sort of got used to, I suppose, over the years. I think a good few years ago now, I don't know if it was in a book I read or maybe some sales training, something like that. And there's something that I heard that really resonated with me, and that was, if you're in a conversation and there's a silence, you don't have to fill that silence. And if you don't fill the silence, it's very powerful because almost 99% of other people will feel that they need to fill that silence. So if, for example, you're in a sales situation and you are, you're asking for the sale, if you ask for the sale and then don't say anything, the other person will feel pressure to fill in that space. And it's something that I tried out at the time, and it's become sort of a habit for me now. I will never ever, if I'm in a conversation with someone and it goes quiet, I will never fill that silence. Never. Maybe if I was in a situation where the other person, say I was at a bus stop with an old lady and I could tell she felt uncomfortable, then that's a different story. Obviously, I'd put them at ease. I might, say, oh, it's a lovely day, something like that. But in 99% of cases, when I'm having a conversation, I will not fill the silence. I'll just wait and sit. And what that's taught me is that I prefer to sit with my own thoughts than to just chit-chat about nonsense. Like my granddad, bless him, he'll always, if you sat with him, he'll tell you about what he's had for his lunch and blah-de-blah-de-blah, and then the conversation will go quiet, and just whatever he thinks of next, that'll be the next conversation. And, I've just got used to now, I just go along with it. Yeah, that's good, and I just agree, or, try and join it, if there's something that I know about, I'll try and, input to the conversation. But I've just got used to just going along with just letting him chit-chatter away because he enjoys it, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's, everyone's different, aren't they? But I just prefer my own company. Kind of, it sounds really bad, but other people kind of annoy me in a way. Not everyone and not all the time, but if I have to spend a lot of time round other people, I start to get irritable, start to get irritated, especially when it's just chit chatter about nothing constructive. I feel like I want all my time to be constructive, and I feel it can be more constructive if I'm just with my own thoughts than listening to chit chatter away. Now, the funny thing is, I had an exception to this, and that was when I was in prison. What happened was, I was on the induction wing, and I got a cellmate on the second night. The first night I was on my own, but I was super tired. I just wanted to go to sleep, so I didn't really notice the fact that I was on my own for the first night. I was just glad I'd had such a long 2 days in the police station and get arrested and everything else, court and all that, that I was just glad to just have a proper bed to sleep on and a cup of tea and a television. So I quite enjoyed actually the first night on my own. Then the second night I got a cellmate, and he was a really nice guy called Darren. Got on with him great. We were in there for about another 2 days together, got to know each other quite well. And then I think on the third or the fourth day, he got took out first thing in the morning to a meeting. And about an hour later, the screws came and said, "Pack your stuff up, you're moving. You're going on B-wing." Right, okay, so got all my stuff together. And it was a long old process, long drawn out process. I had to walk over to this other wing, and you know, you're sitting around for ages before you go, then you're sitting around after you get there. And I got booked in on this wing, and I'm thinking, oh God, am I going to get with a different person? What am I going, you know, is it going to be a junkie? Because all these things are running through your head. Anyway, as they're booking me in, they said, "Oh, don't worry, you get along with the lad who you're in with, don't you?" I'm like, yeah, he's a good lad. They said, "Right, well, you stop him with him. He'll be, you know, when he comes back, he'll be coming in with you." So, all right, great. So goes up to my cell, gets settled in, everything like that. Has my lunch, he never comes back. Has my tea, he never comes back. I've got a pack of cards that I'd got in my canteen that day. So I'm just playing patience all day. And it gets to about 5 o'clock, and I've been there all day, and they've said I'm getting my old cellmate back, but he never turned up. And this is 5 o'clock. I'm thinking, there's no way he's coming back now. No way he's coming back. They'll put him somewhere else. I'm going to get a junkie in or something else. And I felt at that time really, really lonely, super bored. And I just wanted my old cellmate back to talk to. I just wanted that conversation. And it got to about 6 o'clock, and he just walked in the door, and I was so happy to see him. It was mad, honestly. And thinking back on it now, I'm so opposite to that most of the time. I'm really not dependent on other people, even my family, my close friends. You know, I prefer to just rely on myself and be, as I've said before, be in my own company. But at this time, I was so happy to see him. You know, I was just chattering away to him, and that must be what it feels like when you're a chatterbox type personality. So why that happened in that particular moment, I don't know. I think I'm going to have to study psychology a bit more, because it's a really interesting subject. I like to learn about myself, and I want to learn about, you know, why I think in these certain ways, I behave in these certain ways. So it's something that I am studying, psychology. So when I learn a little bit more about it, I'll get back to you. But yeah, I just wanted to have a ramble about that topic today. So hope it's been a little bit interesting to some people, and I'll catch you all later. Take care.